Hello and welcome to my How to Tackle the Edexcel Pearson GCSE History Paper 2 period study. So the options for this topic include Spain and the New World, British America 1713 to 83, the American West, conflict in the Middle East, and superpower relations and the Cold War. So the period study for paper 2 is half of the overall paper 2. I'm just focusing on the period study section in this video. This is worth 32 marks, so you should spend 50 to 55 minutes on this section. In this paper there are 3 questions that you have to answer, although for the last question you have to pick 2 from a choice of 3. So the first question asks you to explain 2 consequences. The second question asks you to write a narrative account analysing something. And the final question asks you to explain 2 of the following: the importance of something for something else. So here we go with each question. So question 1, explain 2 consequences. So for this question, you need to develop consequences. Each consequence is worth 4 marks, so it's almost worth you thinking of this as 2 4-mark questions, both about the same things. Now you end up in level 1 if you give simple or generalized comment about a consequence. To reach level 4, you need to reach level 2, so to get 3 or 4 marks, you need to identify a consequence, and then you need to give specific information about it to support your explanation. You structure your answer something like this. So one consequence of something was, this meant that, or the consequence of this was, and then you repeat that again. So the second question on this paper is your narrative account. It says write a narrative account analysing, and you're given 2 stimulus points, just as like in other papers for some longer questions, and it says you must also use information of your own. So a narrative account for this means giving a clear sequence of events that lead to an outcome, and the quality of the information, the depth of information you include is important, but you also really need to focus on organising your material and to show linkages, so connections from one event to the next. So use the stimulus points you're given and knowledge of your own. So really this is saying you need to include at least 3 points. You need to sequence the events that you have or know about to describe how they led to the outcome stated in the question. So this isn't telling a story. Your description needs to be supported with information that shows understanding of the events. And on the right hand side of the screen here, you can see some of the kind of words that you might use. So it began, realised, developed, it changed, it worsened, and so on. This led to, as a consequence, causing, and so on. So there's a number of different words you can use to structure your answer. The final question of the paper, I thought, how do I answer a 16-mark question? But actually, this is like 2 8-mark questions, because you're asked to explain 2 of the following, and the structure is the same: the importance of something for something else. So rather than thinking this is one big question, think of it as 2 8-mark questions. So spend about 12.5 minutes on each part, so no more than 25 minutes in total. It's asking you to assess the importance of something on something else. So make sure you include specific own knowledge rather than be generalized, and ensure that you link back to the question within your paragraph. So the importance of X on Y. So the first event, how is that important for the next one? That importance can be positive or negative, and the focus is likely to relate in most cases to issues to do with the 2 superpowers, if you're doing the superpowers option. So on this, you're marked for both your knowledge and understanding of key features and characteristics, and analysis of second-order concepts, so consequences or significance. So for this, the quality of your knowledge will be rewarded based on the depth of that knowledge, but that is connected really significantly to the quality of your explanation, in which you're attempting to show importance. If you're just giving generalized information, that'll be level 1. For level 2, you need to attempt to show importance, so there'll be some reason in your answer, why was this important, and at level 3, your analysis will clearly show the importance of the event for the stated outcome. Now, I just also want to finish this video by summarising to you the content for the superpower relations and Cold War topic. So the first part looks at the origins of the Cold War, so early tensions between East and West, the development of the Cold War, and how the Cold War intensifies. You then studied three Cold War crises, so Berlin 1958 to 63, that led to the building of the Berlin Wall, events in Cuba, culminating with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and events in Czechoslovakia, the Prague Spring 1968 to 9. And the third part looks at the end of the Cold War. So it looks at attempts to reduce tensions between East and West, flashpoints between 1970 and 84, and then finally the collapse of Soviet control in Eastern Europe.